All her life, Jennifer Halili dreamed of becoming a nurse and to be able to practice her dream job in the United States. She studied very hard, graduated with flying colors, and passed all the required exams needed to practice nursing in California. Jennifer applied online to one of the top hospitals in Los Angeles. Months later, the hospital replied and gave her a job offer that she gladly accepted. The hospital has always retained the services of an immigration law firm, which is experienced in handling nurse and physical therapist petitions. The attorneys and staff of the firm were very thorough and explained to her the entire process. They coordinated closely with both Jennifer and her future employer in order to facilitate a quick turnaround time for her case. After a few months, Jennifer is now ready to embark on a new chapter in her life as a registered nurse in the state of California.
Immigrating to the U.S. as a nurse or physical therapist, or coming as a temporary employee, involve many legal issues. Immigration experts can help nurses, physical therapists, and other workers make sure they meet all their requirements. Today we'll be talking with attorney Joseph Elias, a partner at Reeves & Associates, who will share his knowledge for our hardworking nurses and physical therapists to help them choose a visa for their chosen career. I'm here with partner and attorney Joseph Elias, and today we're going to be talking about registered nurses and physical therapists. How are you doing today, sir?
Very well, Troy. Thank you for having me.
We often hear it might be easy for a registered nurse or a physical therapist to migrate to the U.S. Would they really need an attorney to help them get the proper visas?
Yeah. You know, it is supposedly an easy process, and it's easy in the respect that registered nurse and physical therapists are exempt from the first of 3 requirements needed for these employment-based green cards. So there are still 2 more steps that have very complex regulations just with the Immigration Service, the Department of Labor, the Department of State. So you have 3 different government agencies that have their own regulations on how immigrant visas should be administered for this category. So we have to work in concert with all of these to make sure it's all lined up. So that's why it's important to have an attorney.
What is a visa screen certificate?
This is one of the requirements. It's called the visa screen certificate. Immigration law requires nurses and physical therapists coming to practice in the United States to show that they are adequately prepared to work in the U.S. workforce, meaning they speak the language, the English language, they write in the English language, and they have the competent knowledge in the field. So there are private organizations that have been set up to evaluate a nurse or physical therapist's education credentials, test their language, have their language scores tested, and verify that they are sufficiently high. And then they issue a certificate known as the Visa Screen Certificate. Now, for nurses, these can only be issued by CGFNS. And for physical therapists, there is either the FCCPT or CGFNS. CGFNS has trademarked the Visa Screen Certificate, but it's the common one since it was the first and only one that was out there for a long time. It's commonly known as a Visa Screen Certificate, but it's actually an immigration credentials certification.
Okay, let's say I was in Manila and I'm applying for my visa here, and let's say I'm an RN. Would it matter what state I'm applying in?
This is the question I often hear. What is the best state to take my NCLEX, that's the nurse licensing exam, or the PT exam? What's the best state to be licensed in? Well, the answer to that is actually quite simple. The state of intended employment. Immigration law requires you to be, in order to be sponsored, that you be licensed in that state. So if I'm going to be a PT in New York, I want to be licensed in New York, not California. Well, I hear, Illinois is a lot easier. Fine, but you're not going to be able to immigrate because you're only licensed in Illinois. Each state has its own licensing requirement. Again, why it's important to bring attorneys in to advise you. I mean, we've seen people who have gone with agencies and unfortunately were licensed in the wrong state and are wondering why they don't get their green cards.
So why would they get that information? Is it because of some of these agencies?
Well, some
giving
of them
like some false information?
I don't know if it's really false. Sometimes it's just sloppy. They're not familiar. Some misunderstand. They understand that there's something called reciprocity. Reciprocity is where the state of California, for example, say, we'll recognize a license from New York. And so the physical therapist says, great, I'm licensed in New York. But reciprocity almost always carries at least 1 year of experience. So that would mean 1 year of experience in the state of New York. And before you would be able to come in California, or if you're trying to immigrate directly to California, there is no reciprocity for you. You have to go through the whole process again. Take those exams over again to be licensed in the state you need to work in.
Are there any differences between a registered nurse and a physical therapist, as far as, not to say their job, but let's say the
way
type
they
of,
process?
Yeah, the type of way they process.
Yeah. For the green card, technically, no. For, you know, and this question really follows what a lot of people ask is, well, I hear there's an H-1B visa. That's a non-immigrant working visa, not a green card visa. I have a bachelor's degree in nursing. Why can't I come? In the United States, the occupation of nursing typically only requires an associate's degree, at 2 years, so it wouldn't qualify. But a physical therapist in the United States today, as of 2003, is a master's degree requirement, minimum education, so they would qualify for that. So generally speaking, when it comes to a green card, they process at the same rate. Now though, because physical therapy generally requires a master's degree, some employers are able to put and petition physical therapists with a master's degree and put them in a category for which there is no long wait for a visa number to become available, and they immigrate much faster. So physical therapists tend to have the advantage now, especially if they've trained at the master's degree level.
So tell me a little bit more about the MPTE exam that I'm always hearing about.
Yeah. The MPTE exam is the national licensure exam that physical therapists have to take. Now, unlike the CGF&S exam, which is what nurses take, it is only given in the continental United States. It's not given anywhere outside. You can't go to Guam to take it. You can't go to the Philippines to take it. You know, it's not given in Manila. So most employers require that before they petition a physical therapist that they've passed this MPTE exam. Now you have a problem with people who are in the Philippines, physical therapists who've never obtained a tourist visa or have applied for and been denied tourist visas. How are they going to be able to take this exam? Actually, there is a way, and the consulate will carefully consider those who are going to take the exam and are in effect being, in a way, being chaperoned by their petitioning employer, their potential future employer. This again has to be, the documentation has to be very carefully crafted so that the consulate has no doubt in its mind that that physical therapist, as soon as he or she has taken the exam, is returning to the Philippines. I prepare these many, many times for a range of healthcare providers, from major hospitals to individual physical therapy clinics, and we've been very successful in getting people who have even been denied visas in the past a single entry or even multiple entry visa to come in, take the NPT exam, and depart the United States.
I'm here with partner and attorney Nancy Miller, and today we're going to be talking about some very, very important issues. Good day. It's a pleasure to meet you, Nancy.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, first I'd just like to know, how long would I have to wait before a decision after I file for application with, like, let's say, U.S. citizenship or immigration services?
Well, there's no specific amount of time where the government has to make a decision, but administrative law does require that they make decisions on applications in what's called a reasonable amount of time.
Okay.